Today I'm going to be building the most luxurious gift shop that Planet Zoo has ever seen. Or I'm going to give you guys ideas on how to become a hermit in the forest in style. But that's not all, because we're also going to be building a habitat for the floofiest of floos, because we're going to be building a red panda habitat. So let's get on with it. Alright, starting off with the gift shop, which is kind of an interesting thing, because this style of building I actually saved for later seasons of Eve Zoo. But we all know what happened to Eve Zoo. It's burning in a fire right now. Like, it's sent to Hades. But the style of gift shop is basically just like this luxurious forest mansion. So the intro still makes sense when it comes to like, this building will either give you the most luxurious gift shop ideas, or it will make you want to become a hermit in the forest. Both of those can apply here. But yeah, when it came to building a red panda habitat that I wanted to have connected to the gift shop, that you can actually be in the gift shop and see the red pandas. Originally, this building was placed somewhere else. It was built to the left of the main entrance in a way that you could actually see the animals from outside of the zoo. Because I really like that when sometimes you have a zoo where there's an animal like right at the entrance and you don't actually have to go in to see that animal. Just like, it's a nice little teaser to the rest of the zoo. But then I thought, yeah, red pandas are a little bit too, like, they are too S tier. I think that's the right way to say it. Like S tier, or is it A tier? I have no idea. But they are too great of an animal to have at the entrance. Because usually it's like, you know, it's your meerkat, or just like an animal that you wouldn't really specifically go to the zoo for, but they are there, and so when you walk by them, you are going to look at them. So yeah, red pandas wouldn't really fit in with that idea of like, not really an animal that you would go for, but it's there. So that's probably going to be another animal. I'm actually thinking of like putting snow leopards at the entrance. This is not a dig towards snow leopards, it's just like, it would just be interesting. But anyways, back to the actual gift shop. So as I said, this building style, I'm just going to call it forest villa style, because that's basically what it is. It's not really like, when it came to the last video with the building replication, like that staff building, which I'm going to put a link somewhere on the screen, like a card somewhere on the screen, if you haven't seen that video, because that's probably the good YouTube thing to do. But the interesting thing with this gift shop is there's no place to hide stuff. Like, when it comes to building things with an interior is like 10,000 times harder, just because like with the staff building or the replication building, I could hide stuff in the building. If I had like a plank that I wanted only a short bit to show off, I would just shove it into the building and you wouldn't be able to see it because all of the windows are opaque. But with this gift shop, everything is visible, which means I can't just shove things in a building and make it so that you don't see it, because everything is on display. And that just gave me nightmares. Well, not really, because there's some things that are just like, alright, I won't be able to do this like right off the bat, which does make it a little bit more relaxing. And then there's only a few times that there are things of like, I want to do this, but I can't because it will look ugly on the inside. But in the end, it all kind of worked out great, and sometimes I had to just be like, alright, I need to do this, but I don't know how to make it pretty. This kind of works, let's go with that. Also for the interior, because it is a gift shop, so of course there's going to be like t-shirts and plushies and such, I used things from the workshop. Great shout out to Shiftzie for building a lot of gift shop stuff, or not gift shop, just shop stuff, because I didn't have it in me to build t-shirts and plushies. I mean, the plushies I've also used in Eve Zoo, and I've just put them in here as well. Again, not made by me, so all of like the interior stuff isn't made by me. I'm going to put the links to the workshop and of course to Shiftzie in the description, but holy fuck, Shiftzie, how, like, the ingenuity that you can sometimes find on the workshop is just mind-blowing. Of like, how the fuck did you think of this when you had this piece? Like, holy hell. But anyways, back to the actual build. So again, I'm going to put the links to like the interior stuff that I used from the workshop in the description. I did put or build all of the shelving myself, but like the plushies and all of the things that are being sold are made by other people that I will link in the description. But yeah, then it comes to the viewing area for the red pandas from inside of the gift shop. Because, of course, because there is actually a walkthrough area for the red pandas. I should probably have mentioned that in the intro. But because the gift shop is just completely connected to the red panda habitat, I wanted these huge windows that connect to the actual red panda habitat. And then there were also the sliding doors so that you can walk into or somewhat through the red panda habitat. I was actually kind of surprised when I noticed, oh, red pandas. Yeah, you probably can make a walkthrough habitat for them. No, actually you shouldn't. Or well, shouldn't. Planet Zoo says you shouldn't. But I did it anyway because I think there is some red panda habitat where you can not really walk through them. As in like how Planet Zoo does it, where it's just like you have an open path and they can cross the path as such. But I think I remember one zoo where you could kind of walk through their habitat. It was kind of fenced off, but you could get very close to the red pandas. And that's basically what I did here as well. So I needed sliding doors so that, you know, if there's no people, the doors are closed. And the red pandas don't escape, because red pandas, even though they are the floofiest of floofs and they are adorable and they are well, are they better than squirrels? That's the question for you guys. Are red pandas better than squirrels? They are definitely less chaotic. I also, like, this is again a thing, but if I didn't like sort of brand myself as like the squirrel, like the chaotic builder, I would probably have gone with the red panda, just because they sleep a lot. I love sleeping, and red pandas do have some chaotic energy to them. Actually, somebody mentioned this in the last video. I'm just going to briefly hop onto this, of like that the conversation or the voiceover is a little bit chaotic. Yeah, that's basically what I do. I love being chaotic, even though it might be like a deterrence to some people, but I kind of love it because it's just, you never know what to expect with the Poisonblade voiceover. Some days I might make somewhat sense. Other days it just leaves your head feeling like scrambled eggs. And I love that. But anyways, when it comes to the red pandas, yeah, they are escape geniuses. I've already told this story before, but the red pandas in like Rotterdam Zoo, I think there's so many stories of them just escaping. Not going far because they like to sleep, so they would like hop out of their habitat and like sleep in a tree like 10 meters away from their habitat, and that's all they did. They wouldn't cause chaos as squirrels would do, but yeah, I'm happy that like probably this red panda habitat isn't that realistic, because they might be able to escape out of this, because again, red pandas do have some chaotic energy to them, but I am very happy with how it turned out. I also made this fire pit in front of the gift shop because it's extra. Yes, your child Timmy might burn their hands on it, but you know, natural selection. Yeah, that I probably shouldn't have said that, but I mean, there's just some things where it's just like, I want this to look good, and this might be dangerous, of course, with a zoo and small children and an open fire. Probably shouldn't have done that, but it just looks good. And that's all I can do about that. Sometimes I'm just going to choose what looks pretty over what is safe. If little Timmy burns his hand because he doesn't know that fire is hot and burns him, well, that's a you problem. I will be sure to put it like a first aid post very close to this fire. That's all. If Timmy burns his hands, natural selection. Should have known that fire was hot and painful. I have no idea why I was just like so hard on Timmy. But anyways, I also have no idea why like the name Timmy came to my head. The first name that I think of when I think of like, oh, kid name, Timmy. Or idiot kid name, Timmy. Anyways, let's move on from that, because that is probably a little bit too chaotic. But anyways, when it came to this build, the one thing that constantly stumped me was just, how do I do the foliage? We're not at that point right now, but I'm just going to point it out right now. Foliage for this building was tricky because all the time I was just like, this tree works. 5 minutes later, no, this tree doesn't work actually. Poison, you're a dumbass. Why did you think this tree worked? And then it's like, oh, this bush works and this setup works. 5 minutes later, no, Poison, you're a bigger idiot than before, than with that tree. So yeah, there were so many times that I just like placed the tree, removed it, placed the tree, removed it, placed the tree, thought I was happy with it. 10 minutes later, removed the tree. That's how this build went along. I'm very happy that like the next build is probably going to be another smaller build, like a mini build again, because oh boy, this build was fun to build. Like it was definitely interesting to build, but damn did it do a number on my brain cells. Not so much as in like, oh, I went crazy, more as in, when is it over? When do I find the right tree? Of course, it's like the squirrel thing of like, I can't decide on a tree. I can decide on a building very easily. Oh, this is the layout of the pods and such. Oh, this is how the habitat is going to be laid out. Trees. It's an interesting thing that my brain goes on when it comes to foliage. It's just like, as soon as I've settled on like, oh, this is the foliage that I want, then it's like, then I'm golden. Then I go crazy. But before that, it's just like, this tree? No. This tree? No. This tree? No. This tree? No. This bush? No. But yeah, anyways, let's move on from the trees. So, the potting in this gift shop, I mean, it's not that difficult. I just placed a lot of like the guest barriers because I don't have the brain cells left over to try and figure out the like 2 meter wide guest pots. You can do that with the cues and then you fiddle around with it. Or fiddle around. What is fiddle? Sometimes my brain just makes up words, I guess. But I didn't want to do that, so I just placed a lot of barriers. And yes, sometimes the stuff kind of clipped on it, and I was just like, alright, move this barrier a little bit further away. Guest is still clipping it, or stuff is still clipping into it, because I don't have guests yet, because I have no idea where I want to put the guest spawners. But it was just like, alright, push it a little further. Oh no, now they're going through like this interior stuff. Let's put it back a bit. And they are still clipping. It's just like that tiny minute detail. But anyways, moving on to the actual habitat before I go insane with the building. So when it came to the red panda habitat, the one thing that I wanted to have, first of all, is of course that walkthrough area, make that work so that the red pandas aren't able to escape, which I definitely think they can. Red pandas are such mischievous geniuses, they would be able to find themselves or find a way out of like one of the Houdini's traps. But yeah, this habitat somehow worked. The red pandas aren't able to escape. I did so many takes on like, how am I going to do the climbing stuff? Because I'm not that good with climbing structures as such. And red pandas, of course, need climbing structures. And then it was just like, alright, I have this idea. I completely finished it. It doesn't look great from the outside of the habitat. It doesn't look great from this angle. Let's change it up. Eventually, I did settle on something that actually looks kind of good. But then it was also like, alright, how am I going to do the sleeping area for the red pandas? Because 99% of the time, like I've basically used Google Maps to go through a lot of different zoos trying to find their red panda habitats if they have them. Which, yeah, for some reason, finding red panda habitats was difficult. Not so much as in, oh, they didn't have them, more as in Google Maps didn't show me them. I went to Edinburgh Zoo because it's just an interesting zoo to be, and it was just like, I think that's the red habitat or red panda habitat. Let's move Google Maps a little bit further. Oh, now I'm in front of some kind of bird habitat. I thought that was the red panda habitat. Oh yeah, this is the way to the red panda habitat. Oh, but it's like, yeah. No, it's not. Anyway, so in the end, I decided I don't want the sleeping area for red pandas to be up in the trees, which is 99% of the time a red panda habitat sleeping area will be kind of up in the trees and such. I wanted to go a different route, which is rock crevice, because I looked on Wikipedia. I'm not going to make myself sound any smarter of like, oh yeah, I researched. No, I looked on Wikipedia. I'm a dumb bitch. I don't know where that came from, but when it came to red pandas, it was just like, oh yeah, they like sleeping in trees. I think we've all know the like image of like a red panda just completely just looking like he melted on a tree branch. I didn't want to do that. And then I read on Wikipedia, oh, they also nest and sleep in rock crevices if those are available. And then I decided, yes, because then I can also make the sleeping area a viewing area for the guests so that they can actually watch the red pandas sleep. Because the red pandas in Planet Zoo, they are extremely fuzzy, and when they sleep, they just look like donuts. Like fuzzy donuts, just like your cats. But I just thought just like, yes, I want to be able to see the red pandas sleep. I made the sleeping area a little bit too big, so you can only place 2 red pandas in a habitat comfortably, and I made a sleeping area that would fit 500. Not 500, but it was way too large of a sleeping area for red pandas. So I did section it all so that like, oh, if they need to like get this red panda some in another sleeping area or like another room that they can like clean up one room, they can easily do that. They just open the door and close it or whatever. But oh damn, it was fun to build because it was the most, I would say, realistic sleeping area that I've ever built, because on one side it's like this rocky wall. It looks very natural, and on the other side it's a building. It just has this fake facade of rocks. But then of course the interesting thing was, are the red pandas actually going to be able to use this? Because I will build stuff thinking of like, oh yeah, the hitboxes of the red pandas are going to allow them to get into this. Yeah, and then the hitbox of the red pandas, or actually any animal in Planet Zoo, is either too large or it's too funky and it doesn't work, even though realistically it would work. But surprisingly, the red pandas immediately went into the sleeping area. They love this place. Even though 2 doors are closed, because again, I made it a bit too large. Maybe if like a red panda has given birth or something, they can have the red pandas in here, because of course when they're young red pandas, I think they're called kids, but I don't know for sure. But if there is like a red panda who has given birth, they can just keep them in here and it has enough space so that it isn't like cramped and they can still do stuff in there in a safe environment. Yeah, for some reason the red pandas just love this. They also love the climbing thing that I built later on, which I didn't get on camera because it was 3 AM in the morning and morning poison isn't smart, and I didn't record that. However, they love the climbing area, they love the sleeping area, and they're pretty much nowhere else besides the climbing area and the sleeping area. And so, or the climbing structure, not the climbing area. Well, it's kind of an area because it's one part of the habitat has a lot of climbing structures and the other one doesn't. But luckily enough, the climbing structure is just going across the walkthrough area for the guests. I think this voiceover has been probably one of the most chaotic it has been for a long time, because my brain is just like, have this point, have this point, have this point, have this point. Yeah. Anyways, so when you're at this red panda habitat, if you're going to Naturalis, you want to go to the walkthrough area because that's where all the red pandas are staying. For some reason. Usually when I build like a climbing structure, the animals barely use it because I'm bad at making climbing structures. But here, when it came to the red pandas, they were just like, yes, give me more. It might actually still get bigger because I really like the design of it. But anyways, then it comes to the closing part of the video where I just built the cashier. I've forgotten the English name for it, but just like if you need to pay for stuff this is where you go. Sometimes my brain is too chaotic even for me. But yeah, as I said, when it came to the gift shop interior, all of the stuff that is being sold I got off the workshop. But my brain is just given up at this point, I think. But all of the, what is it called? All of the tables and such and the clothing racks and such that I built myself. It's just like the clothes being sold and the plushies being sold and all of those stuff that I got from the workshop. And I will, again, I've said this before, but I will put a link in the description to all of the stuff that I've used for this build. I'm just not smart enough to think, oh, that piece I can use for clothing. Like, Shiftzie is a genius when it comes to pieces to use to make these like tiny things. But yeah, that's basically going to be it for today's video. I know it's been very chaotic, more so than usual, but that's basically what I do. Chaos. Anyways, I hope all of you have a wonderful day, guys. Bye bye.